fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
We head to one of the most famous racetracks in the world. We head to a track which very much is a bench setter, be it around the oval or be it on the road course as well. This track always holds its weight. It is Daytona Beach, Florida. It is the world of sim racing, some will say, and this is the magical Daytona International Speedway, and this is the halfway stage of the Porsche iRacing Cup. We're only a couple of hours away from the start of the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours. Make sure you check that out on the iRacing Esports Network with our good friends at RaceSpot TV. But more importantly than that, qualifying is currently underway here as they've only got 2 laps to make sure that everything works out. It's Jake Sperry here in the commentary box for a SimSpeed TV presentation on the iRacing Esports Network, joined alongside by David Sanford here for this broadcast. And well, David, we have to talk about qualifying at the moment. Johnny Gindi is currently the fastest on a 1:44.8, but this is a very much high-speed track. Berryman goes second, 1:44.874. This is going to be all about who can stay within 1 second of the draft today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Sperry. Thanks for having me on. So at a track like Daytona and such a draft-heavy track, I think it's really important to get to that front 5 in the field. So everyone's going to be laying down the law pretty much on their outlap and stuff like that to make sure their tyres are up to the temp, and so they can get in this awesome lap for that second lap where the tyres really do come up to temp, as I just said. So the likes of Thibaut Casabon, who's just gone P1 with a 44.71 over Jeff Giassi, and Daniel Lafuente right behind him, Sperry.
Yep, that's exactly how it seems. So Calzabon for AAA leads. It's Giassi for Positive Sim Racing second. Daniel Lafuente had a difficult time last time out at Zandvoort. He's third. Then it's Christopher Dambeats in fourth for Team Redline, and they are fourth and fifth because Max Verstappen finds himself in 5th place. Then it's Mac Backham, Mac Attack. 6th for Coanda. Surprising to see Coanda so far down the order. It's going to be struggle central for them. And someone like Peter Berryman, who's been up there fighting, the top 9 are split by a 1/10.5 right now with 2 minutes to go in qualifying.
Yeah, as you can see, this isn't really a more of a technical track as much as we've seen throughout the schedule so far. This is get a really good exit on the oval, so that's why we can see such close times, with the top 6 being split by just 0.090 with Mac Backham in 6th place. Josh Anderson just 0.18 behind him. So that's exactly how close this series is, and I think a track like this will represent true driver skill, and we'll be able to see some awesome drafting throughout the 13 laps tonight.
Exactly, and Josh Anderson, of course, was the winner last time out at Zandvoort, so he's definitely the man in form, so to speak, as they all tried to make their pushes forward. 2 drivers have yet to set times. Those are Mark Perez and Salva Talens as well, so both of them will be looking to try and find some times in the MSI eSports cars, who are going to be probably, I believe, a little too late to go out there and get the times that they need. Improvement for Adria Perez, moves up to 15th, 1:45 flat, 3/10 off a pole. Surprising to say that much, but 3/10 off a pole only gets you 15th when it comes to Porsche qualifying. at this point in time. But every driver just needs to be right on it and hoping that their second lap maybe works. Sometimes drivers think one lap's only going to do it. Track conditions, it's 18 degrees here around the banking. With half a minute to go in qualifying, most drivers won't find improvements here, David. Big thing is, though, cold track, cold tyres, lap 1, turn 1, so difficult to get right.
As you said, someone won't find improvement. Julian Rodriguez Marino has just gone P1 over Thibaut Casabon. So he's done a 44.670 with 15 seconds left on the clock in qualifying. The MSI Esports chucks it on pole by the looks of it. Something I really like about this track, Sperry, is how committed through the bus stop it is. I've been doing a lot of laps as I have the 24-hour race coming up tomorrow. Well, today morning for me. I love the bus stop, and this is going to be awesome seeing cars trail through.
Yes, as qualifying does become complete, so right at the death, Julian Rodriguez puts himself on pole position on a 144.6. Thibaut Casabon starts from second, and it's Jeff Giassi in third, Daniel Lafuente fourth, and it's an all Redline third row. Christopher Dam beats the signing, part of the merger between Redline and Pure in fifth, and then the ever stalwart Red Bull racing driver Max Verstappen in sixth place. Mac Backham, Mac Attack starts from seventh. He won the first 2 rounds of this championship with Josh Anderson in eighth. Johnny Gindi starts this one from ninth, with Peter Berryman rounding out the top 10.
Gunuso Testel, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. He starts in 11th. Johan Harth in 12th. Alexander Laritzin in 13th. Ivo Howler in 14th, Murray Sholak in 15th tonight. Adria Perez in 16th for MSI Esports, with Jake Burton making it into top split tonight. He's 17th. Yao Vaz in 18th. Kazuki Umeshima with Burst Esports in 19th. And Yoni Takinen rounding out your top 20.
The final 2 cars who set times were Dennis Grabowski and Samuel Libert, with Mark Perez and Salva Talens not setting lap time. So 2 minutes to get yourself on the back stretch, or you start from pit road, and the long pit road that is here at Daytona Beach. For the first time in this racing season, we are going to be starting this race behind the safety car. It's going to be a half-lap rolling start before they get themselves ready to go. You can see drivers waiting it as late as possible, get themselves up on the grid. They want as much tyre life in them, or sorry, tyre warmth, I should say, in their tyres before they get the go. There are surprises though. Julian Rodriguez at the front, Thibaut Casabon for AAA. They're trying to make their pushes forward. It was not the good start from Casabon last time out. He jumped the start and got into an incident at turn number 1. He'll be hoping that this doesn't happen. We talk about that war, that Redline Coanda war that seems to happen here on iRacing, which seems to be Coanda the only team able really to stop the tide of Redline taking every single simulator to the bank. This is going to be a very tough race for those drivers to get right, and some will say that the bigger battling point is going to be Daytona in a couple of hours' time. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network for more great coverage that you can find over the course of the next couple of days and far off into the future. This is qualifying for the Porsche Series, but everyone wants to be up there trying to get close to drivers like Josh Rogers, who won the championship overall. If you want to make your name, you've got to qualify through here, and you've got to make sure that you are at your level best, as drivers desperately try to get the heat in the tyres behind, as they will line up too wide, trying to get themselves ready for the start. So we'll see how this one all plays out as they head through the bank. NASCAR turns 3 and 4 out on track, and they will look to get themselves ready for what will be 13 laps worth of racing. It's not long at all when you talk about these in Porsche terms. This race is going to go by in the blink of an eye, so make sure that you're on the edge of your seat for what's going to happen. Julian Rodriguez, Thibaut Casabon, Jeff Giassi and Daniel Lafuente, your top 4. Pace car dives down in onto pit road, and there goes Julian Rodriguez immediately. The green flag comes out here at Daytona. Verstappen got a fantastic start there on the outside. Immediately he's going to try and look under the apron, but there's going to be no room there. Unchallenged is Julian Rodriguez into turn 1. Casabon under pressure. Giassi finds a way through. Verstappen diving for P3 down the inside, and has he got it all sorted? Casabon will fight all the way to the International Horseshoe to try and get it done. Verstappen is up to third.
That was a really awesome start by Verstappen. He got pushed a little bit back as he goes wide here in our turn 2 to drop back down to 4th. He's just lost all of his hard work there that he did on Thibaut Casabon.
And there's 2 cars around. One of them is Jake Burton who has gone around. There was contact in the middle of the pack with Maran Cholak and co. Cholak nowhere to go. And oh, it was a car up and over. And that's Ivo Howler for Team Redline. He takes 2 rolls and decides his day is done there. So that was an awful, awful incident. We'll get replay of it later on. But onto the banking, they go for the first time. Calzabon runs wide. Verstappen will have a chance to get back down the inside. And all of a sudden, they could very well easily lose 1 second to Julian Rodriguez and Jeff Giassi at the front. But Verstappen up into third, gets past Calzabon, but the draft is so strong here. You can see everybody in line. Peter Berryman trying to find a way through. He had a poor start. This is Ganoso Tasdalen, who wants to try and deal with the battle at the moment into the bus stop. Not always the best place to make the move, and Berryman decides, I'll wait for the run off the exit.
I don't know if they're going to lose the draft here, Sperry. They'd hope not. Back almost 1.1 seconds off the lead now, Max Verstappen. But coming into that turn 1, as we can see, is that Josh W. Anderson making a move underneath I didn't quite see that car. No, it's the Apex Racing team. So for the lead, the move is on by Jeff Giassi, which is quite surprising. I thought it would be more of a lift-off track, as we see Jeff Giassi lift off coming into turn 1, and that's exactly where I was getting at. I think that's where they're going to catch them back up, and as you can see, coming into turn 1, Max Verstappen straight back on the tail of them, and this race is on. Top 10, 3 seconds.
Yeah, Alexander Larrickson runs wide at turn 1. Always very tough to get right. He was diving down the inside of Ganoso Tasdalen, and he's been able to use all of that runoff to keep in place. So to keep in mind just how big this train is at the moment, Umashima has gone around, all by himself. So that's the Burst Esports car getting it wrong into turn number 3 on the brakes. Did he have ever so slightly a bit of help? I think he did there from Zhao Vaz. So that wasn't going to be ideal as they all try and make their way through. But the train is absolutely huge at the moment. Every which way you look, you've got to make sure you are primed in position. This is going to be feeling a little bit like NASCAR racing in some respects. You've got to time your runs here at this track as Mac Backham finds himself as a little bit of a brake marker at the moment. He's got a few tenths of a second to get back to Anderson. He's got Johan Hath desperate to try and get back through.
Yeah, I've been talking closely to Josh W. Anderson from Altus Esports all week, and he's been putting in a lot of preparation, so he knows exactly all the lines, just the same as all these other guys do. They'll be doing hundreds of laps all week, and now the train's here. Look how long it is. It goes all the way back to Yalvaz and P15. Have you ever seen a 1st to 15th train all within about 5 seconds? That's awesome. So Max Verstappen seems to be a bit of a sitting duck here. He'll catch right up back to that train with another 1.2 seconds from Theobert Casabon, but hey, he's only half a second off Max, so he'll be right in the draft, pulling everyone along.
He certainly will do, and now once again you can see that run off of turn 4 is going to be crucial. This could be a drag race to the line style of race, and look at that high line from Julian Rodriguez, shuts the door on Giassi as they all concertina back into turn number 1. Berryman the closest to make a move on this lap through, cannot get by Larrickson as they all try to find a way to make the moves done. Sava Talens is on the back of this train as well. Effectively, it's a 19-car train into the International Horseshoe. Again, it's Berryman who attacks, looking for the outside line, not going to have it, and also trying to get a better run off the exit. He's not going to get that on Larrickson either. But now you start thinking, if you're in the train, where do you position yourself? Someone like Daniel Lafuente in 5th place may actually be best placed for this race. You just pick off an overtake one at a time. Everyone's in draft. Everyone's getting what they need. Backham goes around. 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles all involved, and they all try and find a way through. Big instant. Hearth was up into the Armco.
Yeah, that was absolutely massive. That something that far into this race, when it's sort of everyone's settled down, lap 3, everyone's just following the train. I'm actually quite interested how that even happened. As we can see the replay here, Johan Hath, he's following in behind Mac Backham, was it, with Josh Anderson right in front of him. So what's happened here? Oh, he's just got straight to the back. Yeah,
it seemed like yeah, it's a massive incident. It seemed like a slight bit of overlap completely changed everything on how that battle played out. So that has completely dismantled a 19-car train down into a 7-car train that says all you need to know. Here's the AAA Esports driver, the Frenchman, Thibaut Calzabon, looking to try and find a way to get through, looking at great drivers in the AAA team. You talk about the likes of Risto Capit, for example, the Estonian. Those are the sorts of drivers that Calzabon wants to be on the same level as they make their way through the tri-oval once again to start lap 4 as Rodriguez Moreno currently still at the front of the field. This is great driving by Jeff Giassi, though, in the Positive Sim Racing car. He wants to do one thing and one thing only. That is use Julian Rodriguez's fuel right up to the max.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So currently Julian is just punching that hole for all the cars behind, all the way down to Josh Anderson in 7th, and Christopher right in front of him. And this pack of 7 will be the runaway pack now. So unless something monumentally goes wrong with this pack, Alex Lauritsen's punching the hole for the guys behind them. And this is our battle for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and there was side-by-side Yao Vaz versus Marc Perez. They headed through the left-hand kink of turn number 4 out on track. It was decided not my type of battle for Marc Perez, as he has his teammate Salva Taylans behind, trying to help him out as much as possible. They're not going to reach the back of this train unless something dramatic happens come towards the end of this race. But what they do have at the moment is the ability just to stay calm, just to stay good in the infield section. It seems like all these drivers in that first train, they are your main playmakers for today. They will be the ones who will be looking to try and battle and try and get victory, as Mac Backham sweeps around the outside of Ganoso Testalen, who is really struggling here at the moment as he tries to make the push through. And look at this, Jake Burton might want in as well, try and dive down the inside at the bus stop, and I think he's got that done under the brakes. Yes, he has. That's a brilliant move done.
Yeah, that was quite good by Jake Burton in the end into the bus stop. He managed to pick off that spot after Mac had a bit of a run-in earlier on. So that's pretty good from Jake. I watched his race earlier on too, Sperry. Now, we move back to this battle up at front. Max Verstappen still holding onto that P3, and you can see they're all just letting off. You know, you got another 8 laps starting now. What's the point in getting to that front and being the hole puncher at the front? So Julian's obviously under a bit of pressure. He knows exactly what's going on. Unless he pretty much pulls over, he's the leader until lap 13, I think.
Yeah, and Samuel Lebert loses a position as well. He was fighting into turn 1 with Dennis Grabowski, but ultimately he just got completely stolen from by Yao Vaz, who just said, "Oh, thank you very much, Cookies, that's mine." Easy position there, and up one more. Then he goes as we get a replay of exactly how that move happened up on screen. That was a beautifully timed move there, Sanford, and you had to say that that's the sort of way you have to drive at Daytona. It's ultimate opportunist sort of track.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we've got a few other series that we run on iRacing, and this is exactly how you got to drive. Someone leaves a gap open, you just stick your nose straight up the inside, and that's exactly how you're going to lose a pass for that, lose a position rather for that core sim racing car. So that was an awesome pass. But we move back to the front. This MSI Esports car, he just unless something massive happens with Jeff Giassi, he's actually just the hole puncher, and he's not going to be able to do anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah, he won't be able to find a way to pull away from this field as they all go on, and I do just wonder if something has just happened to Max Verstappen of a technical nature from 3rd position. He seems like he's just gone and got himself going. He's back there out on track, so he's okay for the moment. So that's going to be a little bit worrying for Verstappen. Technical issues not going to be good. Side by side, they'll go through the triumph for the race lead. Will Giassi decide, I want to try and lead this race? He sends the message clear. I can get right to the outside of you, Julian, on the run to the line. He was 3,000 back as they go through, still side by side into that first corner. He's got to be careful here about running wide, because Verstappen's going to try and take advantage down the inside. Doesn't quite get the run, falls back into position, and now all of a sudden, drivers are starting to say, well, this is what I can do. Half distance will be score complete halfway through this lap.
Yeah, that's right. So that was pretty cool from Jeff Giassi. He just stuck his nose in front, said, "Hey, how you going, Julian? I'm right here." So, but you'd have to think back to Alexander Lauritsen. He's in an island right now, but seeing these guys go 2-3 wide up into turn 1, he'll be rubbing his hands together if they do any more of that. He's just picked off 2/10 that lap, and that was just one little corner. So when the battle comes on, I don't know if I can count him out. I know he's on his island, but as he chops it even further down, but if he gets on the back of Josh Anderson, that's his game. He's right there.
Well, he's got 3 seconds to try and chase down to Josh Anderson, 3.6 of them to be precise. So it's going to be a long day to try and get that all back from the Danishman. Oh, sorry, from the Dane, Alexander Lauritsen. Danishman? God, I'm getting a little bit tired this morning. But either way, Jeff Giassi here in 2nd, Verstappen 3rd. Look at the 2nd train as well. Grabowski, Vaz, Libert, Perez, Taylans, Takanen in there as well. Those 2nd back. You think that, oh, they're outside of the top 10 fighting, or they're fighting for 9th and 10th place, that it's not meaning anything. Every point in this series matters, because there's about a 10-point swing for every place that goes on. Sometimes it's up even as high as 20 points for a swing.
Yeah, that as we saw earlier on, we got to see the point standings and just how close this is. The top 10 is split by 150 points, so you can even see guys are pretty happy with just being conservative. Christopher Dambitz and Josh Anderson, they're happy just sitting in the 7th, 6th place. Even if they finish, the soft's so high, they're going to get awesome points. So they're pretty happy just seeing what's going to happen. They don't have to rush. They don't have to do anything like that. Yalvaz back there, he's still going to get pretty good points. So that's what's quite cool about this series as we go close.
Wow, and well, Liebert wants in as well, and Vaz has to make avoiding action there as my English goes away, and there's contact there, Liebert and Grabowski into the International Horseshoe. Noah's Ark Racing as they are 2 wide, 3 deep through that section, and all of a sudden, it's going to be Marc Perez who wants in now for a place, and he's not going to quite be able to get that one, nor could Yoni Takken as well. West Horseshoe comes up for this pack, and all of a sudden, it was like a powder keg exploded. There was contact from every which way, and now Cholak's back on the rear of it, as is Peter Berryman.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool little exchange of events. Sam Liebert came right in on the anchors into that turn 2. You could see his inside front just locking up, trying to get the car stopped as he fired it down the inside. But moving back to the front, Jeff Giassi is still there. We got Max Verstappen, Theobald, Daniel, Christopher, Josh. Alex Loritzen has now chopped another we chopped about half a second off in the last lap. So I think he's coming. I don't know if I can pick him out, getting lost on this little island that he's got. But hopefully for Alex, he'll be crossing his fingers at the guys in front to start mucking around with 6 laps to go, Sperry.
Well, it's the drivers behind who are starting to play defensive tactics. Liebert had to make sure that Marc Perez did not go through the bus stop section. And look at this for second all of a sudden. They're pretty much bump drafting their way through. They are nose to tail as they come through the tri-oval once again and look to make that run through to turn number 1. Nobody close enough to make a move. You can see how everyone's shepherding themselves away through. Battle at the back, though. Anderson was thinking about, oh, could I steal a position on Christopher Dambitz? No, I couldn't quite get that one to work. So they're trying to find out their lines here. Just someone like Anderson, this is the time where you now start trying to make the move, as João Vaz now looks for Dennis Grabowski, who defends again into the International Horseshoe, as once more the likes of Marc Perez tries to look around the outside of Liebert. Once more, finds only just the hint of an overlap, not quite happening.
Yeah, really hard place to pass through there. There's no grip on the outside, so Marc Perez was stuck on that little island out there. Sam could just pull away. Lots of traction in these cars if you get them nice and straight on these Michelins. So if he had gotten that off, that would have been an awesome move. But this battle pack's heating up. This is almost like the battle pack. We might as well watch this, Sperry. This is a pretty good bit of part.
It is a pretty good bit of passing. You are absolutely right about it. And it is, of course, the second of the big battles. Third pack, of course, includes Jake Burton. It's got Guindy, Perez, and Mac Backham in this pack as well. So that's just a little something down the bottom of the order. These points are crucial. Some drivers will have to rely on other races they've done this week in different splits to make sure that they get all the points that they need to try and challenge for one of 20 places to get yourself into the Porsche Esports Supercup, which will be starting off in the springtime. So make sure you keep an eye out on how this championship develops. They want to race with the very, very best once more. But again, at the front, it is Julian Rodriguez. It is still Jeff Giassi. Just again looking, and the pack is splintering around Daniel Lafuente now in 5th place. Lafuente's not had the best of laps. He will be able to close this back down because they are playing coy. They don't want to try and make some moves just yet. They're all happy just to sit, just to wait. 5 laps to go here at Daytona. Pat closes back in once again. Lafuente that time gave his engine maybe a little bit of a breather to make sure he's not overheating it here today.
Yeah, when you start to overheat the engines in iRacing, things start to get a little bit slower. It's nice to keep them nice and cool, so you're probably right. And you saw before Max Verstappen was sticking his nose out as things are getting spicy. Oh, Liebert's turned someone around. Who was that? That was João Vaz. Ran. And he's back down in 16th now. He's going to be in this 3rd battle pack. He'll be battling around with Jake Burton now, Sperry, as we can see this replay here.
Yeah, replay and watch on the end of this as well between Liebert and Marc Perez. Perez pretty much got doored, so that was a case of drives being aggressive. It was a mistake into one by both Grabowski and João Vaz, who Vaz had the mistake of using Grabowski as a brake marker. They went through to turn 3, just a little too late on the brakes from Samuel Liebert, and just like that, around goes João Vaz. It happens just like that, and on the exit as well, it was a case of get yourself a little bit of the door. I'm not letting you through this kink, said Samuel Liebert. So that gives a little bit of breathing room to Dennis Grabowski here in 9th place at the moment. He does promote Liebherr up into 10th overall. So now you start questioning here. Maybe drivers are going to start getting aggressive. And this is the thing about this Daytona track as well here, David. It's not very difficult from a technical standpoint. It's only a couple of hairpins and some banks with one small chicane in the middle, but it does so many wonders for racing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Something big, fast, round like this can absolutely promote cool racing like we're seeing today. We've got 3 massive battle packs and they're all going off. As we look back to Alex Lorenzo, actually, let's not yet.
No! He's taking out the race leader! Oh, out goes Rodriguez Moreno! There goes Giassi! Max Verstappen leads! It happens at the start of lap 10, and that was all Giassi looking for the inside, a line not there, and he caught the inside grass there, David.
Yeah, he just looked up the inside, as you can see the modem simulation replay. He looked up the inside. He just gets below the apron near these cones, and Julian puts him on the grass a little bit there. He had nowhere to go. He skids on the grass, pushes Julian around, and that's an unfortunate ending for the man from MSI Esports.
It's a very unfortunate ending. The race is not over, though. Giassi's just on the fringes of 1 second in 6th place. You look back to Julian Rodriguez. He's there in 8th. Lauritsen is now on the back of this train. It's still a 7-car train, so to speak, but it is led by the Red Bull Racing driver. It's led by Team Redlines. Max Verstappen, Thibaut Calzabon in 2nd. Daniel Lafuente 3rd. Christopher Dambeats is now 4th. Anderson 5th. Giassi 6th. Lauritsen 7th. And Rodriguez in 8th. The bridge between the divide between himself and Dennis Grabowski in 9th place overall. So now Thibaut Calzabon finds himself in the catbird seat. He finds himself perfectly poised to try and wait and hope that he gets the run over the start-finish line that gives him the race win. It's 3 to go here at Daytona when they cross the line.
Yeah, that's right. Thibaut Calzabon, he's in the hot seat now. He's all race, he was probably thinking, oh, you know, I've got a few spots to make if I want to make this lead. But now he's right up behind Max Verstappen, who's probably checking his mirror wings all the time. Josh Anderson and Christopher Dambeats, though, these guys have been bystanders and just watched everyone take themselves out. As actually, speaking of, Dambeats looks up the inside of Daniel Lafuente. Can he get it done? He sort of backed out, didn't he, Sperry?
Yeah, it looked very nervous. They were almost looking like they were going to cross the beams on the tri-oval. That was always going to be very, very scary. But 3 laps to go. Now you start playing this game of chess. You've got to make sure that you are picking apart, move upon move, to get the position that you want. Side by side behind us. And now I believe this is going to be Dennis Grabowski under pressure from Marc Perez. Can't get it done at the International Horseshoe. Maybe at the West one, you might have a chance, as Joni Takinen has to also fight here with Maran Cholak just behind. Side by side through the kink is always very brave, but the inside line will always be Takinen's for the West Horseshoe. As trying to get in on this is Peter Berryman, but there is just no room at the end as he now turns to the offense here on Cholak. Not quite there.
Yeah, that's right. So something about these almost off-camber corners that we've got through the infield, they're so hard off the line. They're so hard to get that move done because they are these big sweeping corners that you've got to feather the throttle all the way around when there's such an easy line through the inside. Move back though. Josh Anderson's right on the gate of Christopher Dambeats. There's 2 laps left, Sperry, as we come around, well, the 3rd to last bus stop now. There's going to be some moves, I think, unless Josh Anderson just decides to play his cards right. He's probably thinking about, hey, I'm in the hot seat for the season. I'm probably going to make the PESC if I keep this sort of form up.
Well, we hope that you do not make the pits at all as they look to go through. This is the toughest game of poker being played at 275 kilometers an hour at the moment as they make their way to the tri-oval for the 3rd to last time. 2 to go at the stripe. Verstappen leading this one. Calzabon waiting. Now you've found yourself with the turn card and you're hoping for the river to come up and come up trumps for you as now, shot to the back from Anderson there. He was caught out on the brakes by Dambeats ever so slightly and the train going slow slightly. So that was not going to be part of the script there as they go into the International Horseshoe for the 12th time. And then for that moment, Anderson may have to be wary here about any damage that comes along. Grabowski again under pressure behind, and again the outside will not work for Marc Perez.
Yeah, this is starting to, as we saw someone upside down back at turn 1. Who was that? Backham. He's been in the wars today. That's unfortunate, Sperry. So let's just take a look on this replay here. What's he done? He's come around in 21st position. He's just trying to bank these points. He's coming pretty hot.
and Gindi goes around in front of him.
Yeah.
He just gets launched by the ramp. It's a horrible, horrible incident. Thank goodness it's sim racing, some will say. That would have been a helter-skelter if things were to go the way that they would. And Sanford, now you've got to start wondering here. That's going to be huge points that Backham's going to lose after that incident.
Mac Backham's been the on-form driver all season, and he's pretty much just taken a drop week. As we know, in this series, we've got 4 drop weeks, so there's number 1 for Mac Backham as he lands on his lid and goes straight back to the pits. But we've got 1 lap to go. This train is 7 cars long. With Alex Lewis, and as I said, he's right on the back of that train, so he can probably get another point or 2 if he's, position or 2 if he's pretty ambitious coming into our last lap now. White flag time.
Oh, Dan Beeks. Oh, Dan Beeks contact with Lafuente. Front to rear. They save it somehow. That's some brilliant car control as they go into turn 1. One final lap, 5.73 kilometers. Everything on the table as Verstappen leads this pack, which is desperate to try and find some positions to find a way past. Verstappen at the biggest disadvantage at the moment. Infield's got to be flawless right now as they head to the International Horseshoe for the final time. No chances. Calzabon runs wide, and suddenly Verstappen has himself a little bit of a gap, has himself 4 or 5 car lengths now to play with as they run through the kink to the West Horseshoe. Verstappen at Team Redline wants to get the race victory, needs to get this race victory. Probably will not be driving in the Porsche Esports Supercup, but he wants to prove that these racers that go around in these Formula 1 cars, they're just as good as these sim racers as he heads himself onto the oval banking for the final time here on this broadcast by SimSpeed TV. They now look towards the bus stop as they go through NASCAR 1 and 2, and Calzabon will look to try and close this gap down as quickly as he possibly can. Lafuente there in 3rd, Dan Beats 4th, Anderson 5th, Giassi 6th, and Larritzen in 7th. You're hoping that the tow is going to help out Thibaut Calzabon for AAA, sitting on the back of Team Redline. They've had so many battles in different places. Now they have the big fight here. Verstappen gets a pretty decent run here through the final bus stop. And now through 3 and 4, it's about can you hold on? That gap, a car length and a half, and it will close. And now Verstappen has got to get his best block out as here comes Thibaut Calzabon moving to the high side to try and get it done to the Team Redline driver. Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call. It is going to be 1,000 to Max Verstappen. He wins it for Team Redline. Fantastic.
What a finish. That provided exactly what we guessed all race, and it's 1,000 splits 1 and 2 with Daniel Lafuente coming in just a 700th behind Sperry. How about that? I thought it was going to be 3 wide coming over the line for a second, but as we see just how close it is, Max Verstappen going on the NASCAR apron, something you get a penalty for from the NASCAR stewards in real life. But mate, it doesn't matter here. We're in the Porsche.
Well, it was an absolutely fantastic race. It was a game of attrition. It was a game of tactics. And at 275k plus, it was the man who does it at 330ks who gets it done correctly. Official classified results. Max Verstappen wins at Daytona. The margin of victory, though, you can't get much closer than 1,000th of a second. Thibaut Calzabon, number 2 on his vehicle. He will be bitterly disappointed he could not capitalize in the final section. Daniel Lafuente gets 3rd with Christopher Danbeats 4th and Josh Anderson rounding out the top 5. 6th position will go to Jeff Giassi. It's Alexander Larritzen in 7th. Julian Rodriguez had the lead of this race, got turned by Giassi on the start of lap 10. He falls back into what is going to be 9th place behind Grabowski, with Mark Perez rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, that's right, Sperry. That was a pretty awesome finish. We can see in 11th place, Selva Talons. We've got 12th, Sam Liebert for Core Sim Racing. 13th was Marin Cholak, Joni Takinen in 14th. Pete, he comes in at 15th for Apex Racing Team. Yal Vaz, after that early incident, he actually made some pretty good time up considering, so he gets 17th. Jake Burton, our privateer, he's 17th. Adria Perez for MSI Esports, 18th tonight. Tastellan gets 19th, and Mac Backham, unfortunately, we saw taking a bit of a tumble. He rounds out your top 20.
You had that tumble with Johnny Gindi there in 21st position, and then you hit the non-finishers. Kazuki Umeshima has ever been a stalwart as the rising star, the big star of Japanese sim racing here on iRacing. He only manages 22nd. Johan Haaf, a poor week for him, 23rd. And Ivo Howler, we saw up and over in the opening laps. He finishes only with, well, doesn't even finish. He gets 24th place overall come that. But some magical racing there, and you just cannot write why Daytona is such a fabled and brilliant track. Some drivers didn't like coming here today, felt like it was too much in the lap of the gods, but this is such a brilliant racecraft circuit. It tests your wit, and it tests how you play with car placement, David.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talk about lap of the gods. The biggest mover in the field was probably tied Denis Grabowski. He came from 21st to 8th position for a nice top 10 and awesome points finish for that number 24 car. He was the lowest number in the whole grid. So that's absolutely awesome points. And the racing provided here was excellent. It's not even about a sort of a run that you get anywhere on the track, because within 0.9 of a second, you're in that draft. You get tugged along and you gain 5-10 kilometers down the straight and you're right back on that train again. And we saw Alex Lauritsen catch that train from 4 seconds back.
Yeah, and that really does tell you all you need to know, and that is going to be some very, very important news for those driving in what is about an hour's time here on the iRacing Esports Network, because the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona, the first of the iRacing World Tours this year, is going to be kicking itself off. Join RaceSpot TV for the coverage of that, which will have all 24 hours put up on stream for you, so you can check out as much as you want of the racing action. But for those who did love Porsche iRacing Cup, action will be back in a week's time for the second half of the season, starting off with Barcelona, Catalunya. We'll be heading to the historic layout of the track, and more importantly than that, the road to Elkhart Lake continues here with SimSpeed TV. But a massive thanks, of course, to Motum Simulation, who helps sponsor with the replays for us, and from Jay Kennedy behind the cameras and David Sanford here in the commentary box. I've been Jake Sperry. Sometimes sim racing gets itself so much of a comparison. Oh, it's not as good as real world racing. Oh, it's not as interesting. It's not as fun. It's just people sitting at home, driving on the wheels, driving on the controllers, what have you. Well, here's your proof of the pudding. Max Verstappen just took an almighty race victory that said, you know what? These sim racers, they absolutely can go. We'll see you in a week's time here at Barcelona.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?